This is the Ben Herman Show.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Ben Herman Show. Today, we have an awesome guest by the name of Nina Addeo. She's the owner of I Do Wedding Marketing. And really what they're focused on is helping you in your social media game, right? So it's really a social media marketing agency specifically for wedding industry brands. Nina is also the host of the I Do Wedding Marketing podcast, which has over 180 episodes of free value that you can tap into right away. So definitely make sure to check out her podcast on all major podcasting platforms. What's up, Nina? How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. It's a bit of a gray day here in New York, so not getting the best lighting, but I'm glad to be here.
I don't know if you knew this, but I'm actually in Las Vegas, so it's always sunny over here.
Oh, there you go. Very nice. I need a DJ and lighting crew just to follow me to kind of mute out all the traffic and get me good light.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about I Do Wedding Marketing. Like, where did it get its start, and what kind of services or how do you help wedding pros with their businesses?
Yeah, so it started for me. Some context was social media was something when I was going to school and college. It did not exist. You know, companies were not on social media yet. But as I started trying to pursue my passions, because that's what people always say, right? Do what you like. And slowly social media started to evolve and become something that businesses were doing. And I ended up getting a great opportunity doing social media and administrative work for a group of wedding venues. And the two ended up being the secret formula, because understanding the back end of how these wedding venues operated, getting to sit in on the sales calls to take the minutes, working with the vendors for the vendor lists, the bridal showcases, the cake orders, allowed me to understand the whole process from both a sales perspective for the couples and the vendor perspective. And the marketing budget was my salary. So anything I was learning to do was organic. And I developed this formula for the organic social media marketing. And I was like, I think I could replicate this, and started doing it, and then realized, the joke I always had with the ladies I worked with was, is it still fun working in weddings after your wedding? They all said no. But what I found was after my wedding, I still was thinking about weddings all the time. And so the passion of weddings with the passion of social media, I Do Wedding Marketing was born.
Oh, that's awesome. And so how do you serve these wedding pros when it comes to organic social media specifically? Are you scheduling out their content? Is there a specific framework or strategy that you're implementing to increase engagement, followership, or attracting leads?
For sure. So let's talk about what a package would look like, a full service social media package. So the first kind of big part of that is going to be your content. And that means the photo or video or carousel itself. It means the captioning. It means who's tagged in it. It means what location is tagged. It means what hashtags are used. So there's a big part to that. And there's a minimum amount of frequency that you need to get that organic traction before we even talk about engagement too. But so the minimum I'll do is 3 posts a week. That's the minimum I can work with to really get the organic traction that I'm looking for. And we want content and captions that are storytelling. And that doesn't have to mean, once upon a time. Really, it means what to expect when you're working with us. What are you feeling the day of your wedding? What experiences? A lot of couples they don't know what to expect when they're meeting a DJ for the first time. They have no idea. So explaining part of that. That's what I mean by the storytelling, and making sure every post has every piece it needs to get that organic traction. So that was why I mentioned the location tag and the venues. And then from there is also having the engagement strategy. If you post and ghost, as people say, or if you're never on the platform, we don't get that extra opportunity to remind people that you exist. So Ben, you and I had spoken about a DJ company that's on Long Island, New York, where I'm from. So where do people who are engaged or about to be on Long Island hang out? Where do they go? where do they go to get engaged? Sometimes when you check the right restaurants on Long Island, you're going to see engagement photos. Who do they follow as soon as they're engaged? What venues do they check out first? These are all the places that I want to know for my clients, because we're going to show up there on Instagram. We're going to interact with who's there. We're going to use Instagram to remind people that we exist. And if your profile's optimized, you don't want to be that person commenting on the post going, hey, by the way, I'm a DJ, because, they're going to know you're a DJ because hopefully your profile says, Long Island DJ Co. or whatever your company name is. So if your profile's optimized, you can leave genuine comments for engagement instead of having to sell in the comments, because people don't really respond to that. People on Instagram, if their profiles are public, they do really like the engagement part of it. So when you leave a genuine comment going, what an epic proposal spot, he nailed it, or, we love that restaurant, great choice, things like that, you can start that organic engagement process with the right audience.
Love it. Okay. And in your opinion, what would you say is the best social media platforms to focus on as a wedding pro?
So for me, it's right now Instagram, and because with the way Meta is, Facebook mirrors so well and works so well with it. I do both Facebook and Instagram. That's the base. You have to include at least that. So I'll have clients who want to add on TikTok, even LinkedIn, Pinterest. We have more things we can add to it, but to start, we need to really start with those two. I find that Facebook groups have become so kind of prevalent. A lot of people, certain groups can be very powerful, not all of them, but in the right group, if somebody's referring you, I kind of can see immediate traction from that. Lately, more and more, I'm seeing Reddit kind of take place of what Facebook groups were, but it still is nice that when someone's referring you on Facebook, if you have that page right there, it can lead someone directly to you. So that's why I feel like Instagram and Facebook work so well together. It's nothing really extra to have it going to both places, so just do both.
Perfect. And then what are some tips that you would give in regards to, Facebook and Instagram specifically, of how to post, or, what are the ways to get your content to gain some traction, some eyeballs to actually see it?
So, there's a double-edged sword to viral content. The good thing is it's going viral and you're getting all this attention. But what's happened sometimes for my clients is our viral posts don't always turn into the leads, because they're reaching people worldwide. And we need, for example, an engaged couple on Long Island, and this post has reached everybody but. So we like to really have a diverse content catalog that's going out. So for every viral reel or that style of post, because you don't know if it's going to go viral, we also have things that are maybe more educational, or maybe show you at a local venue. Because what happens is couples are looking up their local venue. They're smart. They know that the venue's website is hand-picked photos. If they want to see what it really looks like before they tour, they're going to see what other people have posted. So they may go into the tagged photos, they may go into the location tag, which is when you put in the actual location and see who's coming up there. So if you can get your content coming up on those places, kind of the more you show up there. If you think, sometimes we tend to think, the way we consume our content is we're looking at it the month at a time. So we're thinking, oh my God, you posted at this venue 3 times. That's way too much. But nobody else is taking it in like that. People are taking it as it's pushed out into their feed, or maybe they're seeing it through that venue's location tag. So you really do need to be repetitive with your message if you want it to stick. So if you're listening and you have a venue you want to be seen more at, post as much as you already have at that venue to kind of get people to think, oh, Oheka Castle, they're there all the time, whatever it is that you want to be at.
So you'd say that the tag content is definitely a great place to pay attention to. Maybe someone tagged you and it's not as flattering of a video or a photo. Would you suggest then untagging, I'm assuming?
Well, because this is something that happens with the venues I represent a lot.
Yeah.
People will tag them and it's not even at the venue. And I think that is so
Oh
rude.
my gosh.
And it
Oh,
drives me nuts. So then I untag those. But if it's,
yeah.
as long as it's at the venue, I'll keep it. But this is just a New York State thing, or at least in Long Island, New York. We cannot have is it cold sparklers, the indoor sparklers?
Yep.
And so some DJ companies will tag us, and I have to say I can't share that to the venue's feed, because then the brides who listen to the rules get really mad and
Oh,
will
yeah,
comment back. So sometimes there's just little reasons like that as to why the venue's not sharing. So if you want to do a collaborator post with a venue, that's when a post is going to be shared on their feed too. I'll get a lot of requests from DJs. But if the post is only showing the DJ booth and not the venue at all, the venue is the client and they want their feed to showcase the venue. So if you splice in some stuff in there that makes the venue look really good too, they'll be more apt to accept that on their collaborator feed and share that space with you. So when you're doing the collaborator feature, a great tip is to think about who you're asking to collab with you and put something that's going to make them look good too, in addition to yourself. So then this way you both can share that spot, because otherwise the venue will just tell me, remove that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got another question for you, Nina. It's something that seems to cause a lot of confusion around social media organic posting, which is hashtags. Are they still relevant or are they not anymore?
I see such a mix. I have posts that are successful with no hashtags, and I see posts that are successful with it. But right now we are not seeing that it hurts a post. It doesn't hurt a post to have hashtags, but you want to make sure if you're not having hashtags, something in your caption has to speak about who you are, what you do, where you do it. So if your caption, back in the day, I miss these days, it used to be enough to just post a photo and to copy and paste a love quote, and that was it. That was all you needed to do. And then you could hashtag everything saying Long Island Wedding DJ. But now Instagram uses your caption and assistance to file your post. So it's not strictly relying on hashtags for that filing. So if in your caption, and this is a great use for ChatGPT, you could say, we want to congratulate Danny and Ben on their wedding. It was at Larkfield. Can you write a post that congratulates them and say how their audience was, on the dance floor all night, and then add a bit of your branding style, your tone of voice, and so forth. And it will work on making that for you and work in those tags. We mentioned the location it was at. You can have it mention a call to action. Are you looking for a Long Island wedding DJ? Contact us. If you get those phrases in the caption, then it's less pivotal to have those hashtags.
Gotcha. And then another follow-up to that is the link in bio, right? Become quite scrutinized, that now it's more about comment this word below or comment below, that kind of thing. Where do you stand on that?
It is such a struggle, because there's nothing worse than saying, and I've had to do this on my own profile, saying comment 180 to get episode 180, and nobody comments 180, and then I just look so dumb because I'm telling everybody to comment and nobody does. So in that regard, I'll put DM or comment. So I'll just say maybe everyone's thinking they DM'd. But the reason why link in bio is something we stopped saying is this belief that Instagram would penalize people for saying that. And same on Facebook. There's a theory that if you put a link, your post won't do as well. Why? Because you're directing traffic off the platform. Instagram, Facebook, and any other site wants people to stay on their platform. I do think, and this is contrary to what most people say, I think our audience, especially in the wedding industry, they know what to do, right? They know where your website is, and they know how to find it, and they know what information is going to be there. So I don't think it is as necessary to have to spell it out for them, saying click the link for more details. I think you can find, and that's a fun thing to do on ChatGPT too. Say, give me a lot of different ways I can tell people to reach out to us, without saying link in bio. But I do think we have an educated enough audience that they're at the age where they know where this information is. What I also like to do is share the post with the link in stories, simply because then that's a tappable link. So when you post something to Instagram stories, you can add a link that people can actually click and get to your website. So I think being active in Instagram stories is a great way to combat not being able to say link in bio, and kind of reaching people there and putting those links there. Ideally, if you could do once a day, that's amazing, right? But if you can go in a few times a week and putting a link, maybe you just did a wedding at a particular venue and you have a section of that on your website, you could say, here's more that we've done at Water's Edge, or you can say, this is the package this couple booked, and have people link to it there, whatever, get clever with it to do different links and see what works.
Very interesting. And Nina, when it comes to the relationship between posting photos and videos on the standard profile or on the standard feed versus posting reels or stories versus going live, what is the relationship between all these different methods of posting content on the same platform? For example, on Instagram, right? How is a wedding pro supposed to navigate and understand, what kind of tips would you provide them of hey, really pay attention to this, or here's a breakdown, stories is really, you should use it this way versus, standard posting versus going live, that kind of stuff. What would you say to a wedding pro about that?
So first I would say is you don't want to ignore your analytics, which a lot of people surprisingly do. If you go to your Instagram profile, there'll be a button for you to check out your analytics, and you might be really surprised to see the views that your stories get, particularly how they rank in comparison to the rest of your content. When you go in to look at your content and analytics, it includes stories now. And sometimes I'm seeing my clients' top posts for the week are including their stories. They're doing higher than their reels are. And what's also nice about stories is it's a way to kind of get directly into somebody's DMs, sliding into a venue's DM maybe, because you're tagging them at the story, whether it's, you're setting up for the day and things like that. I get a lot of great content that the venue shares from people sharing stories of that day, but also everybody consumes content differently. So not everybody's going to see the posts that you put in your feed. So when you share it to your stories, you're giving it extended life. And as far as Instagram lives go, Instagram likes to see people using everything it offers. So if you're somebody who's doing lives and you're doing stories and you're doing reels and you're doing static feed posts, they like that. But going live, I think, is a great thing to do at showcases and things like that. So someplace where it's maybe no pressure, right? It's not a paid event where you're working for the couple, but rather you're showcasing yourself anyway. So maybe while one of your DJs is performing, you can have somebody else getting that on the Instagram live, and it kind of brings people who couldn't get to the showcase there.
Gotcha. Okay. Very interesting. And then you had mentioned ChatGPT now multiple times throughout your answers. How are you using ChatGPT through your workflow when it comes to posting organic content?
I really love ChatGPT, and I think if you use it a lot, it can become a really great tool. If you've done branding for your website or content for your website, copywriting, all of that material, just copy, paste, and put it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to remember, this is my brand, this is our tone of voice, this is how we speak, and then tell it this is who we're speaking to. And then what I like to do when I'm creating a content calendar is taking some photos. Maybe I know I want to post this photo. I have an idea what I want to say, but I want to get some other ideas. I'll upload it to ChatGPT and I'll say, caption this image. So sometimes it's also helpful if the company I'm working with, maybe you're doing a DJ event at a cultural wedding, and I don't know everything about the tea ceremony that's happening. So I'll ask ChatGPT to look at it, or I'll, uploading the photo is fun because it's pulling elements that I maybe didn't think of or didn't see. And it gives you a lot of content ideas. Sometimes if you don't have a set photo that you're going to use, I'll just ask for it to give me a set of captions that promotes this certain package that we're doing, or that really talks about how we're the premier wedding DJ group on Long Island, things like that. And it helps to get those hashtag terms we're talking about kind of organically in there.
So really, you're using GPT then to come up with the captions, right? Utilizing copywriting principles as well. So that way, for those of you that, may not understand what copywriting is, it's really persuasive text that drives action or inspires someone to take action, right? It's a marketing term, right? Do you have any sort of things that you add in with that, or is it just copy and paste from GPT directly?
It's kind of always tweaking and adding it. ChatGPT will kind of very naturally give you emojis at the end of every line. That's not going to fit a lot of places natural branding. I kind of like to use just one emoji and this kind of the same one that's like that brand's emoji set, and I like to make sure you don't have to accept the first answer. You can say it needs to be more editorial. You can say, stop saying bride and groom. I don't want you to say that ever again. I want you to say couples. Tell it what's important to you so it captures it. It's also really great to say, I want to post this reel because the couple did a really funny cake smash. What's a good hook I can put on the reel? And it will give you a couple of suggestions, or just kind of feeding it. Like I want to say, all right, for this venue, I want to say the food is as good as the views. What are some captions you can come up with based on that? And I can kind of feed it my idea and see what it comes up with. And sometimes it gives me an idea and then I go ahead and write the caption. So it's just a great way to get inspiration. Even if you don't want to use a copy paste caption, it's just a great way to get ideas to get you started.
Yeah. So really, like you said, for inspiration, right? To a starting point. And then you can always mold it and add your own flavor or personality to it.
Yeah, you could upload the whole dance floor and say, these are the pieces that we did as the DJ and lighting that people may not realize. We did the monogram, we did the TVs, we did the Zap photos. So, and we brought in this booth. This booth isn't part of the wedding setup. We brought in the love letters, whatever it is. And then ask ChatGPT to write the caption based on all that. Because somebody who's planning a wedding for the first time, they may start kind of piecemealing those things and going to a marquee letter company, but you have it, right? So if you start feeding that in, people are going to learn that sooner.
Oh, that's great. That's really awesome advice. What about in regards to, what would you say to a wedding pro? Because, we wear 20 different hats, right? I always love to say that the acronym CEO really stands for Chief Everything Officer, right? We're the marketing department, the sales department, the service fulfillment, customer service, and all that kind of stuff, right? A lot of times what I find is that wedding pros unintentionally put organic social media posting on the back burner. It's a thing that falls through the cracks that's forgotten about the most. What would you say to that person?
Social media can burn you out. And I think that's what sometimes, I'm on my own work account and client account so much, I can't even touch my personal one, right? But once you start to kind of to gamify it, really. And if you do, I kind of do this 10-10-10 engagement strategy. So it's 10 minutes a day, right? I just want you to do 10 minutes. I want you to come up with 10 different locations and 10 different accounts. So locations are going to be what we spoke about earlier. Where do couples go in your area? Are they going to the vineyards? What locations? As pumpkin picking comes, they all go to the farms and get their photo with their pumpkins together.
Yep.
The nice restaurants, even the venues. And then 10 accounts, 10 different accounts that they may follow. So different venues. It could even be some of your past couples, because they're going to have friends who are engaged. And then in those 10 minutes, I want you to pick one of those locations or one of those profiles and start engaging with the people who have either checked in there or who are following those accounts. And like I said, if their profile is public, they're welcoming in the interaction. It doesn't have to be kind of slimy. Like I said, you don't have to get salesy in there, just real genuine. And what I'll do for each account, I'll either comment and like on a post, or I'll like 3 of their posts. And that's enough for somebody to notice it in their feed and go, oh, who's Long Island DJ Co? And based on your profile, hopefully they're going to be able to know what you do. And if they don't, maybe think about adding, something to the name or the part in the profile. So, or even your picture, right? Yeah. So it will be clear. If you have somebody at a DJ booth in the profile picture, they're going to know what you do. And as you start doing this, you start to see followers trickle in and more engagement come, and you start to see your website clicks go up. And if you have a small amount of website taps, that's totally normal, because we're fighting Instagram, who doesn't want people to leave Instagram. Mm-hmm. And we're fighting doom scrolling and trying to get people to leave their doom scroll to go to your website. So if you get 12 clicks, to me, those are 12 good clicks, because they had to combat a lot to decide they wanted to go to your website. So the leads you can get from this strategy are good ones, because we're really combating a lot of different things. And so as you start tracking these numbers and seeing the followers grow, it gets to be a bit more fun. So when you realize this is something positive, this is something that's going to help my business. And this, on my business account, I had to do so much muting that every now and then my husband will come home with like major news, and I'll be like, I have no idea that happened. I have tweaked my profile so much that no political news has made it to my business account. Do what you have to do to make it a safe space for you. For me, political news was something I couldn't have on my business account. So whatever it's going to be to make social media positive for you, because we want this to be a place where you can grow your business. And once you start that and try that and see it work, it's going to become a lot of fun. And you'll realize that it's just this free tool that you can do when you're in a waiting room, or if you're on the car line for school and things like what I love going through the Starbucks drive-through, even if I know it's going to take an extra half hour, because I use it to my engagement and things like that.
Well, those are really amazing tips, Nina. So I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your brain with the listeners. How can people find out more about your services, your podcast, and get in touch with you as well?
Yeah, so I'm at I Do Wedding Marketing. I'm there it's I Do Wedding Marketing on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm on LinkedIn as well, Nina Addeo. And in addition to the full service packages, we also do 90-minute strategy calls. So it'll be a lot like mine and Ben's conversation here, except it's all going to be about your business. It's going to be recorded so you can keep it or share it with your team. And we're going to go through your whole strategy. Maybe we'd identify what those 10-10-10 accounts are for you, or we'd pull what you would be posting and the captions and so forth. So we offer those in addition to our full service management, which you can check out at idoweddingmarketing.com. And the podcast is there as well. I'm hoping I'll be able to get Ben on, and hopefully you guys will come on over and listen to that.
Awesome. Count me in. Definitely.
Yay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nina. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.